Let's wait 25 seconds.
Hey.
There we go. I got the notification. 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, and welcome to a beautifully made gourmet sandwich with the best ingredients called topics, made tailored for you. The IndieHub Gamecast. I am your host, Kinda Jesus, doing this for the 8th time in a row.
We're
because
finally live!
YouTube streaming is so
don't
bad.
want to do this anymore. Like, I've been here for a half an hour and I haven't done the podcast yet.
We weren't late to this podcast, everyone. This is a completely different intro. We weren't late. YouTube's new go live system just doesn't work. So I was scrambling to find the old YouTube Go Live, which, by the way, Jalvi, is how we're live right now.
Fair enough.
I am your host, Kinda Jesus, and joining me today, we have Oz. Say hi, Oz.
Hello, I don't want to do this anymore. I've done this so many times.
And Jalvi. Say hi, Jalvi, please.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting some major deja vu right now. Alright.
There you go.
Let's move on to the actual podcast.
Let's actually entertain ourselves here, boys.
Alright.
On today's podcast... Stop there, Mike. On today's podcast, we're going to be looking at the topic of GamerGripes. GamerGripe is basically specific works that we, as gamers, hate about video games in general. But first, we got to talk about it. We just have to talk about the bulletin news. And by talking about the bulletin news, we got to talk about the virus.
The virus.
I'm going to look at YouTube right now and say, why? Why do you not allow us to say the name of the virus? Because we get demonetized if we do.
Zombie plague.
I thought you were going to say, I was going to look at YouTube and be like, yo, it's not live. And I'm going to be like...
I'd be sweating in every single place I'm sweating from right
This
now.
would have been like, and we're out.
Not gonna
But
lie.
yes, the viral virus that is sweeping YouTube right now.
Exactly. Unfortunately, due to the virus, we had a lot of cancellations. Cancellations that really we should not be having, but unfortunately, it is the way how the world works right now. I think we should start this not really by saying what was canceled and what was not, but by specifically talk about the virus itself, because I used to think it was kind of a overreaction what everyone's doing and saying, and in some extreme cases like toilet paper, you're
I
definitely
went to the store the other day. There was just none. There was none.
Wait,
Why?
really?
It does nothing. It does nothing for you.
Yeah, it is a definite overreaction. You're forgetting that you're not the only human being alive in this world, and when you hoard toilet paper, rice, spaghetti, everything,
Gotta love the spaghetti.
you
The
gotta love the
spaghetti.
spaghetti. You're basically
I love the
taking away from
spaghetti.
everyone else to do a little of what you're doing, and those that actually really need, that have real diseases, are not going to be able to do it as a result. And because the disease does spread very easily, I understand why there's a lot of events going left and right, and I think I agree with it. What's your guys' take, Jalva?
In all honesty, I get the reason why people are scared. I mean, for those who are elderly, for those who have underlying health concerns, I mean, I do understand the panic that you guys might be feeling right now. I personally have friends that are affected by coronavirus right now, and it sucks. I'm hoping for a speedy recovery for them. But for those who are really just, like, happy and healthy, no underlying health concerns otherwise, I don't get why people are rushing Costco to buy toilet paper, water, and canned goods. I understand the reason for that. I just don't understand why people are hoarding all this stuff at
You should have
once.
stopped on rushing Costco. That's already something weird.
Yeah. I mean, I understand Costco wholesale is absolutely fantastic, but why? Just why?
I think that's a thing that New Yorkers have. I know that we have Sam's Club.
Costco is a store, by the way. It's a
Yeah.
general store.
Yeah, I do know that Costco exists. I don't know if
I
I've
was
ever
talking
seen
to
one.
the audience because we have a multinational audience
That
here.
is fair. That is fair.
Oh, cool. My take on the Corona drink, the delicious beer. The drink is really good. Honestly, the light version is the best. But this.
Keep talking. No, just keep talking.
Get recovery. Get recovery.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's go.
The drink is really good.
Get
It's really good.
Get
But,
recovery.
you know, it's a good thing to drink while you're inside worrying about this virus that's going around. That's completely different and not the same name at all.
Oh, damn it, Pauls.
I told you.
Good recovery. Good recovery.
But the virus, yes. My feelings about it. This is what happens when you do the same thing 8 times. The madness.
That is fair. That is fair.
It is understandable that people are worried. I would say be reasonably cautious.
Yeah.
Is more of it. Like wash your hands. I get getting water and canned goods because a lot of fresh stuff is not really going to be done because a lot of things are getting closed and markets are going down. So it makes sense. Don't hoard because that's dumb, but have a reasonable amount. Everything reasonable. Make sure other people get some as well. Go, it's
Be
nice.
civilized.
Be civilized.
Exactly. Yes.
Kick people in the shins, not the knee, but the shins.
Yes.
Okay.
Only the
We
shins.
do not incentivize the violence against other people. We gotta.
I sometimes do.
Oh my God!
All right.
We're gonna have a conversation after this stream.
I don't. I'm a huge pacifist, so I don't actually. Consider
Yeah, I'm a
like,
passive fist
It's
straight
for
to
the
your
law.
eyes. I mean, what?
Okay. With that being said, I think we're all kind of innocent in here about the risks of coronavirus. Like I said, I personally think
You just said
a little
it.
bit. However,
You just said it. The full name.
yeah, you said it too.
No, I didn't.
No,
I just said
now-
the Corona beer.
Now all bets are off.
the word
All
corona,
bets are off.
buddy. The word corona is demonetizable by nature, so I might as well say it.
I'll put it down in the chat anyway.
The coronavirus outbreak. I understand why some people are like that. For example, I gotta be careful, not by my own accord, but mostly for my mother, which suffers from problems and has asthma. That can give some serious complications to my mother, meaning that in general, I need to be careful because if I get it, there's a very big chance of my mother.
Yeah.
If my mother gets it, it's a big problem.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's talk about some of the cancellations in the video game. Because if there's a outlet that's being really heavily impacted is the usual media you consume. Series, movies, tunes, anime, and especially video games too, because video games take a lot of work and a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
The main corporate behind the main event being cancelled, especially this week because they finally confirmed it, is E3. E3 is cancelled, and for good reason. E3, the company responsible for E3 really didn't want to cancel. They tried their absolute best not to cancel it. But the problem is when you have a very low ticket sale mixed with a lot of companies already saying, "You're not seeing me there. No way I'm going there." You can start to see why E3 needed to be canceled more than anything. Microsoft was one of the very first companies to pull the plug. However, saying that Microsoft was one of the very first to plug, they also confirmed that they will be doing a Nintendo style press conference, meaning like a live stream on their YouTube channel, talking about the news and events, like Sony's State of Play too.
Hopefully better than Sony's State of Play. I love
Hopefully.
PlayStation. Those things are terrible.
I think it's important. I think it's important to just kind of just take notice, because a lot of companies right now, especially video game companies, are limiting the amount of staff they put in their offices right now to actually develop these games. And so what that potentially means for future video games is they're going to be delayed by more than up to about 6 months. I mean, right now, major gameplay events, like the LCS, or for those
I
who
was
don't
gonna
know,
be talking about.
League. A lot of League's events right now are being canceled or postponed, just mainly because people are, just mainly because they don't want the spread of the virus, right? And so that's really impacting the video game community as a whole, and that honestly makes me scared for the future of the 2020 games at the moment.
Oz, do you have anything to add up there?
Yeah, I mean, I get that there's an inconvenience to it, with them postponing events or canceling events. But it is important to remember that, like, this is mostly just so that they can watch and see what happens. It's better that this happens, like, all these these postponing events, these cancellations happen, and it winds up being like a nothing. Like the virus ends up being not that bad, but like that's way better than the alternative of the Black Plague.
Better safe than sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Or
exactly.
the Spanish flu. So like, we
Definitely.
don't want these sort of things to happen. Like, I don't think I've actually watched like the actual events of E3. I normally just watch like trailers or people commenting on it.
Yeah.
I do make my streams. So I do this weekly, not yearly, thing where I kind of stopped streaming for a couple of days and video games. Instead, I would just stream the events according to the time zones that they were, and doing my original impressions live.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we're not going to be really doing that. It's really sad that out of all years of video games, this was the year Corona decided to pop up and say hi, because we had Sony with PlayStation 5 being announced this year, and everyone was really
Got the new
excited
Xbox.
for it.
Yeah.
We have the new Xbox, basically new generation of consoles, and this
Hopefully
happens.
they change it from the name of Scarlet. Makes it.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It
Hey,
does make me cringe a little bit.
Hey, what are you gonna buy? When are you gonna buy the new? What's the name of the new Xbox? Oh, I'm about to go buy Scarlet.
Oh, hi!
Doesn't really
Says a random woman on a.
doesn't
on the
really
street.
bode well.
It's better than
Well.
the new Nintendo system. We've already said it. The COVID-19, because it was developed in 19, and it's like a co-video game system. So it's COVID-19.
Good recovery.
Well,
We've already said it, so it's done.
Yeah. Regardless, like I said, companies are looking into different alternatives to actually generate their own live stream. Ubisoft has come out and said that's definitely what they're going to be doing. Microsoft, like I said, Sony wasn't even on the E3, so I assume they will be holding a state of play in the near future. Nintendo does its Nintendo thing. So at least the big boy companies are definitely gonna get on board with the idea of just showing off. We don't have confirmations on companies like Bethesda. Bethesda hasn't announced anything yet.
I don't care.
We don't know if there's gonna be a live stream or not. I actually care because rumors say they would be showing off a little bit of gameplay from the new Elder Scrolls game, and that space.
I'm going to hold out all sort of feelings towards anything
And
Bethesda
excitement.
puts down.
I agree. I
Because
agree, but
they really shouldn't have messed up Fallout 76. They really shouldn't have.
yeah.
There was no
It's almost as if Bethesda's going Fallout, 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 Sky, Fallout.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Hey, we have some look. We have some Skyrim over here.
Sky, no,
Listen,
Fallout.
I'm just hoping that the new Elder Scrolls has a new engine. Because at this point, if it's the same engine again, I'm gonna be like, these people do not get it.
All right. First of all, there's a big difference between having the same engine but a better version,
Yeah, that is.
and going with the same engine and just changing one or two things in the engine. For example, Source 1 and Source 2. They're the same engine, but one's clearly much bigger and
I would. When I say new engine, I would say like a change from Source 1 to Source 2. I don't mean like they have to go to like suddenly
like an
do the
updated
Unreal
engine. Yeah.
I mean like they literally need to stop using the one that they've been using from Skyrim.
Very
Because
true.
it was not made for
Very
internet gaming,
Yeah.
and they were like, well,
I mean, the game engine nowadays just doesn't hold up right now.
Not even just internet gaming, Oz, just gaming in general. They look like they're still on the PS3 era.
Yeah.
Almost when it comes to graphics, but definitely on what the engine can do when it comes to gameplay.
No reason that
At least
Fallout 4 needed to look that bad. There was no reason.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 isn't that bad. I like it.
It's not that bad, but like what I mean to say is that it's not as good as it should have.
At least the modding capabilities that Bethesda has put in place is probably one of the best I've seen.
Right, but they do it so that you fix their games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, we're changing the topic again completely.
Yeah.
Let's focus a bit more on the coronavirus. We also got to talk about some of the pro events that got canceled. The Overwatch event, we're getting a Overwatch event in a few weeks. We're not gonna get an Overwatch event for sure now. The Apex event was gonna be held in a couple of weeks too. The very first Apex event unfortunately got canceled. Hearthstone followed up, and I believe Rainbow Six too.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really find the news then, but I did read up about it somewhere.
Yeah. And go ahead.
No, go ahead, Java. I was gonna skip to another piece of news. So,
And,
do you have anything else to say?
And like I said before, before this podcast that actually worked, the Valorant gameplay event has been canceled due to the virus concerns, which I'm honestly kind of disappointed about. Because I've been following Valorant ever since ever since Riot has teased the game in their 10-year anniversary. It just sucks, the fact that we have to wait until actual summer to get actual gameplay notes. I mean, from what it looks like right now, Valorant is absolutely fantastic, but it is definitely disappointing to see all these gameplay events and these pro tournaments being canceled, because honestly, competition is great.
All right. Next up on the news bulletin, Oz, take it away with your JRPG.
JRPG nonsense. So in positive news, because we gotta have some positivity somewhere. A game called Chained Echoes just completely demolished its Kickstarter goals, like all the way up to, it got like all of its reach goals as well, and you can still. Donate to this game, and it looks pretty awesome. It's made to look 16-bit, traditional JRPG, but kind of more like Chrono Trigger, of how the battles happen on the map, and they kind of move around like that. You also get an airship that you can customize, and of course, there's items to loot, steal, or craft.
Do you know what engine they're using?
Let me see. I think they created their own. Looks like it. I mean, let me read their official page and see if they put it down. But it should be coming over in the next 2 years. Good thing about indie games, especially with the virus going on, is that they're smaller teams, so generally they're not really going to be affected.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's always a good thing. I do not believe. I believe they created their own engine. That's what it's like. Yes.
Oh, they created their own engine.
Jalvi, your the images on the
I
stream.
saw it. I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it, I fixed
Lovely.
it.
Sorry,
But
bet you was.
yeah, but it's so they also have this really sweet. If you go to their page, their Kickstarter page, Chained Echoes, you can find it on there. They have this really sweet box. It looks like a Super Nintendo box. It says Super Retro, and it also comes with this cool steel case. The box art looks really pretty. It looks like it's gonna be a really good game. I really like it. I like the look of it. I like that there are mechs as well as airships and ground combat. So there's a whole bunch of varied gameplay, and we really haven't had an RPG like this that was like made with this level of quality recently.
Yeah.
We've had like Octopath Traveler is probably like the closest in terms of like old retro RPG, but I would say that this one looks more fun because it's not as grindy.
Mhm.
But yeah, no. If you're interested in JRPGs, I would say donate if you can. Yeah, that's it. That's it for that. There's not much unless you guys want to.
I'm not really a very big fan, like I said in the previous podcast, of the
Mhm.
just tap one button to get a cool flashy attack. I respect people that like it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But one thing that I can say about the game is how it looks. It looks absolutely stunning, beautiful,
For sure.
very well crafted. Definitely would.
Yeah.
The
Um,
animations
I-
are very fluid, which is
I would. I wouldn't play it by myself, but I would definitely be able to appreciate very good this game is. Do you have anything to add, Jalvi?
Nah, I think we should move on.
Okay, let's move on to the main event, ladies and gentlemen. The following match is scheduled for a burnout. Introducing
canceled.
first. Then again, and introducing first, Jalvi's GameGripes.
Okay.
Take it away, Jalvi.
So, one of the main gamer gripes that I have is motion blur in video games.
Yes.
Okay. I will say, motion.
You want to see things while you play video games? Nah, bro.
I will say, motion blur is fine if you're going for a cinematic view, but
No,
don't
it's
have
terrible.
it. But don't have it enabled by default. Why is it enabled by default?
All right. Okay. So I think you should explain first what motion blur is, so that people that are not very tech savvy or graphics savvy
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
Okay, so motion blur, in a sense, is as soon as you move your mouse or your controller and you control your camera, the frames that go by as you're moving the camera, it gets blurry, and it is supposed to give a very cinematic effect by basically replicating the shutter speed of actual cameras. Now, that is fine if like I said, you're going for a cinematic view, but when it comes to gaming, I absolutely hate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Motion blur in most video games can actually be turned on and off, which is great. Like Jalvi said, I think it should be off by default. But some games, oh my god, some games don't even allow you to do that. Why?
You mean
It's
you
something
wanna
as-
see what things look like when they move?
No
Right.
way.
In some cases, motion blur is kind of necessary because motion blur can be tied into a multitude of things. It can be used to masquerade the game's imperfections by being too fast, meaning that you have to have blur around it. So, if that is the case on a game like GTA 5, have the option to only have motion blur in cars.
Yeah.
In vehicles in general. You don't
Yeah.
need to use it in the entire game. And others, and I believe Need for Speed comes to mind, the motion blur is tied to the actual frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
meaning that if you tried unlocking the frame rate or messing around with the motion blur, you could cause the game to go twice as fast or twice as slow.
Yeah.
Meaning that if you're in 2015 or 2016 or whatever the game came out, and you're still using an engine that utilizes frame rates with the actual game speed, just get a computer from at least 2010 and
Get a
code there.
computer.
Yeah, let's just call it there.
All right, Oz, one of your gamer gripes. Let's go.
Okay. My biggest gamer gripe right now is for sure YouTube. No, I'm kidding. Is actually empty open world. Now, I don't really particularly like open world games to begin with, but I can understand the appeal when there's stuff to do. I do not understand, and it's kind of a thing that is kind of dying down a little bit, where open worlds that basically have nothing, but like you go to a place and then a thing happens, and you go to another place, but there's nothing in between. Like it's literally just wilderness.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's not my particular. I prefer large zone over open world, whereas you can put more stuff in it. That's my personal gamer gripe for that. I think everyone can agree that empty open worlds suck.
You would hate Shenmue 3 or any Shenmue game.
I do not like Shenmue. I do not.
Shenmue, listen, I defend Death Stranding with all my teeth, but Shenmue. Oh my god, Shenmue
I
is
would
so
rather
bad.
play Death Stranding than Shenmue. I'm gonna throw that out
Okay,
there.
there we go. At least we can all agree on something.
all right.
At least we can all
Shenmue-
agree on something.
I can try to appreciate the first game and the second game for its technical marvels.
Yeah, but that
but,
doesn't make it fun to play.
And the director was really trying something new, but when you actually hype people up with a new Shenmue and you get millions of dollars and you end up with an end result that barely passes PS3 graphics and has the pace of a fucking
I have not played Shenmue 3 yet. Is there
nail.
motion blur in it?
Of course, there's motion blur in it. Come on.
There's motion blur in every single modern title right now. Which, by the way, indie games don't have that much motion blur. It's almost as
it's a processing power.
it's almost as if indie games are better than modern titles. Who would have known?
I actually cannot confirm that because I never noticed it. Huh.
Yeah.
It is possible though. If you're going, a lot of games adopted the minimalistic or the pixelated art style, and when you go for something like that, having motion blur on or off doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Ashen though, from the top 5 indie souls that just came out.
Go watch it.
Go watch it. Do it. Has a little bit of motion blur, but it's fine because it's very minimalist. So like you're not like it actually kind of helps the game look a lot better in some moments. But you can turn it off, so it's fine.
Woo!
There you go. When it comes to the conversation of open worlds that feel lonely, I personally love open worlds. I love just the freedom that any game allows you. Even linear games that just say you can do it this way or that way. I love that. I love being the one responsible for my own actions because I created. And open worlds are the best example for that. That's why Legend of Zelda: Nipples of the Wild is my favorite game ever made, because it uses the open world to say you do your own adventure at your own pace, however you want to do it. You want to be shooting from the distance. You want to be a physics god. You want to do this or that. You can do it, and I love that. I love the natural way you progress through an adventure through an open world. However, I don't really like Final Fantasy 15's open world. It feels bare bones. It feels like
you're just not using it right. You have to be in your car the whole time. It's
Yeah.
a great game.
the being in my car part, I don't mind it, believe it or not, because it creates a world. You're not just walking from point A to point B. You're walking there, listening to a good soundtrack, and having your mates talk to you. That's okay. But once you get out of the car and have to go from point A to point B,
Do you
well,
like desert? How about grass desert?
how about one enemy every 12 kilometers?
Would you
Huh?
like to go
You
in
might
the
like
water? You can't go in the water unless you have a chocobo.
What?
Possible.
What? I will have a very controversial statement. I don't think Skyrim does open world right. I honestly feel like Skyrim
correct.
does open world, but it's just empty. It is just empty. And
I'm gonna throw up what you guys said. I'll be right back.
I do not like Skyrim's open world. So okay, there is a great the game that does open world very nicely, in my opinion.
It's definitely Anthem for sure, 100%. That open
Chip
world
is
perfect.
The Witcher 3. I believe The Witcher
Yes.
3 does open world very, very nicely.
Yes, I
I'm
would.
gonna have a heart attack in your voice. Chip
not
just
like what-
agreed with Jalvi on the comment section. Chip just agreed with Jal. Listen,
Thank you,
listen.
Chip.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's make a
I like
entire
how I
conversation
spoke to the
about this.
phone that has the comments. I go, thank you, as opposed to the mic that.
Listen
Yeah, right?
to me. What's the big difference between Skyrim's open world and Witcher 3's open world? Go.
One's good.
But why is Witcher 3 good and not Skyrim?
In my opinion, The Witcher 3 has a lot more populated open world than The Witcher does.
But population doesn't mean entertainment. You can have a lot of people on Final
way.
Fantasy 15, but there's not enough content to justify
I would say
that
the
population.
content that's in Witcher 3 is very meaningful. The jobs that you get to do are very like. I agree. A little bit more nuanced, and I don't really like open worlds at all. But like, I did like The Witcher because it felt like, oh, I can go do this adventure, and it was like, oh, I gotta go, hunt. I gotta do research. I gotta collect stuff, as opposed to let me go into a cave again.
Yeah.
Let's go into another fucking cave.
Okay, all right, okay. So at this point, we're not comparing the open world of Skyrim with the open world of The Witcher 3, because if you compared only just that, Skyrim beats Witcher 3 by a mile.
I do not agree.
Because Skyrim's map is smaller, but you constantly have something new to work with. Skyrim at the beginning,
you
Skyrim
have the
might
same
look-
thing that's slightly different. and
No,
maybe-
you don't. No, you don't. If by normally exploring, I found my way into what looked like a normal cave, like you said, but after I got to use this part of my brain,
But how
I
long do you have to
realized-
travel between objectives?
no. First of all, there's fast travel.
You mean the dopamine?
And
sensor
even
of
if you
your brain?
don't
'Cause that
do
was about where
fast
you were
travel,
pointing.
Even if you do fast travel, even if you don't do fast travel, there's always something going on in between those
What-
times.
what was in that
Witcher
cave?
3 doesn't have a completely different layer of a underground city that was bigger than any other city with a fake sun that you could shoot down and kill the entire city with. All of that.
Why would you kill everyone?
Because
I didn't want to. I just wanted to
He's
see
a
if
sadist.
it actually went down, and it did.
He's a sadist.
Listen. Can you kill cows enough times in Skyrim to have a giant monster come and murder everyone?
Again,
That is
that
the
has
greatest
nothing to
thing that's
do
ever happened.
with the open world of Witcher 3 versus the open world of Skyrim. I personally think Witcher 3 is better. But I think you guys are doing a disservice to how Skyrim was. You gotta also have in mind that there was a lot of time between Witcher 3 and Skyrim. Good 5 or
I don't know
6
what you're
years
talking
ago.
about. The
That
most
is fair.
recent version of Skyrim just came out like a week ago. I mean,
Yeah. My Alexa
they keep
loves
selling
Skyrim.
it like it's a new game, so I'm gonna treat it like it's a new
Yeah,
game.
that is a shitty treatment from Bethesda. That's why I think
Because we
Bethesda's
keep
something going
buying
on.
it.
To be fair,
Bethesda's
Skyrim
my
might be
gamer
always
gripe.
pretty good.
Bethesda and YouTube are my gamer gripe.
Oh, I will jump straight into that,
yeah.
but
Wait,
Before
no,
we-
we didn't do.
no, we didn't do cages
It's-
yet. So go ahead, Cages.
It's my
Yeah,
gamer
yeah.
gripe now.
Yeah.
Tying up with the open worlds and tying up with Bad's level design, I gotta say my gamer gripe is invisible
Yeah.
walls.
Mhm.
I mean, look, we've came up with so many ideas to masquerade the end of the level. Some just put a straight wall there. Others just put, I don't know, a black hole in the middle of goddamn nowhere to say
Giant,
can't go in there.
unscalable mountains.
So why is it that if I play Forza Horizon 4 and I get very near the end of the map with a ultra combo that's gonna give me so many levels, and out of nowhere I fly right to an
That's
invisible
what
wall
happens in the
and
real
lose
world.
my
You never just
combo?
walk into-
Why do you have to do that? Can't you just put a wall there? Or can't you just put something to indicate that I'm getting close to the end of it?
Yeah.
It's 2020. I would understand if it was 1995 and we were very early into 3D modeling and 3D environments. I would understand that there were some limitations there on the number of assets you put into a game. But we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
The number of assets you put are basically limited to the amount of gigabytes you want your game to have. So I would much rather have 500 or 3 gigabytes more of a game just purely on assets from walls or anything to fill that space than having a goddamn invisible wall every time I decide to deviate 12 meters from the goddamn path.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things that happens again in JRPGs, a lot of times they come up with really crazy reasons for invisible walls. Like, it's honestly the stupidest things I've ever seen. Like, they're just like, oh yeah, there's a wall of miasma that you can't go through because all the cells in your body turn solid, so you can't go through it. That's definitely.
Oh no.
Oh my god, that
Kingdom
is so
Hearts
bad.
3, in Kingdom Hearts 3, there's basically a giant city world, and yeah, in Kingdom Hearts 3, one of the worlds, literally they're just like, oh, my VR line, it doesn't work outside of this range, so you can't go any further. And I'm like, oh, cool, I guess that's the invisible wall then. It's just so dumb, but it makes more sense than saying nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I think
Yeah.
one of the games that that does invisible walls no justice is like the early part of The Last of Us. Because I played The Last of Us with a good buddy of mine that actually had a PS4. I didn't. But the early segment where and by the way, they're casual gamers. They have no idea where they're going.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
Okay, the game has been out for more than 6 years, mate.
You were the one that
Hold
said
on,
it
hold on, Chad.
before.
Hold on, boys. I think it smells like overhypeness here. Sorry.
But yeah, one of the early segments of The Last of Us has an invisible wall where you just cannot get past a certain point before a zombie just tackles you and just eats your brains out. And my casual friend over here is like, why the can I not go past this point? Part of it is because I have an invisible wall that triggers a cutscene. He didn't know he had to go and turn right instead of just focusing straight ahead. So
That's just bad game leading.
it really is. But that invisible wall right there just does gamers injustice. I cannot stand it.
While we're at it, what's your next gamer gripe?
Okay, my next gamer gripe right now is the crossplay between PC gamers and console gamers. There has been it has been proven that PC gamers have a distinct advantage, especially when it comes to aiming and FPS games. PC gamers have a distinct advantage when it comes to accuracy, when it comes to controllers. Now, I'm not dogging crossplay just mainly because of the advantages between PCs and consoles. But what I am focusing my gamer gripe on is the hand-holding between console gamers and PC gamers. Because PC gamers have a distinct advantage, it seems like developers have to have some sort of hand-holding for the console gamers. And by the way, of actual aimbot or aim assist. I absolutely hate aim assist when it comes to crossplay between video games. it just doesn't do the game justice. If you want to do crossplay between consoles, or just do crossplay between PC services like Steam, Battle.net, Epic Games. That way, everyone has a fair shot. Don't do it between PCs and consoles. It does the game injustice. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so 3 points to what you just said. Point number one, that mainly happens to shoot
Yes.
included.
Yes.
Because if you're going for example, and I hate setting this example, for a FIFA match, having a PC and having a console, not really
Right.
not really a advantage or a disadvantage for any side. Same with racing games, same even kind of platformers. If you hold a controller on PC, you don't really have a disadvantage.
I'm talking specifically FPS games. Yeah.
Point number two, I think the problem is not the crossplay. I think the crossplay definitely holds more positives than negatives. One of the positives being there's a much bigger player base, meaning that
absolutely,
theoretically speaking, there's a bigger longevity behind said game.
Yeah.
I think the problem is finding the perfect balance between helping the console players, leaving the PC players with the same level of consistency as a console. That's really what's hard, because if you do too much handholding on the PlayStation 4, the PC players are really not gonna enjoy gaming, because all you have to do is plug in a controller and out of nowhere you're a god because of aim assist.
Yeah.
But on the other side, if you almost don't even commit to helping out the PS4 players, you're basically making the PlayStation 4 experience straight up shit. Because
seriously, trying to shoot with that is
so
rather die.
I think because this is kind of a new concept, it isn't. There's been crossplay for years now, but only now shooters are really trying to adapt that. We're still kind of looking for that perfect in between, where console players and PC players kind of have the same percentage. And it's really hard to do. There's not a specific metric you can put into a game that says this is right, this is wrong. Sometimes you have a great experience, for example, in the new Call of Duty Battle Royale, where you feel like everything is going perfectly, everything is going smooth, and on the very next match, you get sniped by a quick scoping god from a PlayStation 4.
Sounds about right.
Because there's a lot of gamers. There's a lot of gamers with different levels of skill. For example, a gamer that's experiencing a Oz basically might try Call of Duty and say this is not hand holding enough. While a professional COD player coming from PlayStation 4 just does quick scopes like is wiping his butt. It's that simple. It's really hard because of it. But I think Call of Duty, as I said, is the closest example to having a decent enough cross-platforming that doesn't rage while still helping PlayStation 4 and leaving the PC players alive.
I think one game that does crossplay well, I forget if For Honor is crossplay compatible, but if it is...
But For Honor is not a first-person shooter.
Correct. Yeah. I feel like crossplay is more how should I say this? Is more chaotic in first person shooters, less so than actual fighting or RPG games. Like, I don't know, for me personally, RPG games and fighting games are a little bit more casual than FPS gamers in general.
Very true. Oz, do you have anything to say there?
About the crossplay? Honestly, I think it should stick to like the third person action games rather than first person, just because it's really gonna you're just never gonna get the accuracy that you can with a mouse on a controller. It's just never gonna happen. And if it does happen, it's gonna be way down the line, and honestly I'd be terrified of that. But yeah, no, I think another problem is that a lot of computers have stronger processing power and also more
that doesn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay, given
Typically, when
given
it-
that you
typically-
have more than 30 frames, if you have a video game, this has kind of been proven multiple times. Obviously, theoretically speaking, more frame rates equal better performance from the same player whatsoever. But when people usually test that, they forget that a PlayStation 4 player is much more used to that level of frame rate than a professional would
Right.
Yeah.
if he tried it.
Yeah.
What I was also gonna say is that oftentimes people that are PC players tend to have set up where they are plugged straight into their router, as opposed to a lot of PlayStation players are doing on through Wi-Fi. So there's a lot more lag. That's typically.
Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
Oz, I think that was a problem 5 years ago, but right now we're starting to grow. Games are requiring kind of the same level of internet connection
yeah.
as they did a couple of years ago, while we are improving our internet more and more and more. So even though if you have Wi-Fi, maybe the difference is going to be like 5, 10, 15 ping difference
Right.
nowadays. Of
Right.
course, there's exceptions, like you had a couple of minutes ago before this stream.
Yeah,
but
before
most
we
people
stream
right
multiple
now,
times.
yeah, but most people nowadays don't particularly have that problem. Fortunately, we're
Yeah.
starting to get less of that.
What I will
Moving on to the next gripe, though.
Yeah. Before we do that, I would say that crossplay in like a campaign, in a co-op campaign, would be so amazing. But right now it's only limited to actual multiplayer PvP. That just honestly ruins it. But if we have like some sort of campaign where it's crossplay, that would be amazing, and that is a great segue to Oz's next gamer gripe.
Yeah, it's a great one. It's been actually like a full hour since I said them. What are my? Well, I remember two of them. I know one's the fake
I gotta be honest,
the
me
4-hour story mode.
yeah, that one. That was the one I remembered. So I had the 4-hour story mode, which was like, if I'm paying like $60 for a game, and even if it does have an online component, I still want more of a campaign. Like 4 hours is unacceptable. It's just there is no reason that has to be the case. I think that, and if your game is only a single player experience, then having a 4-hour campaign and charging $60 is literally criminal. Like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna be doing?
Yeah.
So like,
I remember a game by the name of Order
that was the game I was thinking of.
1986 or something like that.
1980. Yeah, some 1886, right?
I think it's 1886.
Is it?
That's
We all know
By
the game.
the,
we're
by the way,
talking
that
about.
the white screen in that game, you couldn't change the aspect ratio.
you know what you could also not change the motion blur.
The motion blur.
The motion blur. It all goes together.
It was
1886. There you go.
Yeah.
It was a shit show. Completely. It had some great graphics
Yeah.
and some actually good set pieces.
Yeah.
But it
So?
ended as fast as a stream of mine. And not even,
What
I'm not even kidding.
What I will say though, for what it's worth, the campaign that we did have was absolutely fantastic. I absolutely
Yeah,
love the storytelling.
except the werewolf bosses.
Oh yeah,
the same one twice. Yeah.
yeah.
Three times, actually, not twice. Three
Oh,
times.
it was so good. You gotta do it 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
My brain blocked out one of them, going like, "It didn't happen.
Exactly.
There's no way we're doing it again.
I completely agree with Oz here, except
Yeah.
on one small detail. For example, if the multiplayer component ends up being much more important than a single player, I think it is justifiable. If
I'm
you
not
just
saying that the multiplayer component can't be more important. I'm just saying Titanfall 2 came out with a long, wonderful campaign and also a pretty bomb multiplayer component. You can do both.
Yeah.
Most focus was on the multiplayer for sure,
Mhm.
but the single player is a good way, especially for someone like me, if they don't want to jump into the multiplayer right away. You can like basically do some sort of like training of the basic mechanics in the single player. It's not always done, but like the difference between Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 2.
quick thing, Jalvi, Mr. Sugar Sweet over here in the chat is saying that Oz's mic is a bit lower.
I can turn that up like this.
Okay, fantastic.
Fantastic. There you go.
Wonderful. It's great.
Well, here's the thing, right? You go through a specific problem that is sometimes games kind of grind for the sake of grinding. So, in my opinion, if the game is multiplayer specific, I would much rather have a 4-hour campaign, and a decent one at that, than a 10-hour campaign where they're just, grinding the plots, grinding the levels, making them uninterested, etc.
Well, right.
I think I can clearly see the point that you're trying to bring, especially if it doesn't have any multiplayer or the main focus is definitely single player. Having 4 hours of a campaign feels like a huge blue ball and feels like a huge disappointment. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, for sure.
And now I'm going to be in my brain thinking about what my other one was. And
well,
it's okay. I have it.
Great.
Moving on to my other game gripe, and this is a game gripe. Most of the chat that is currently watching us can definitely get behind me, especially if you're a multiplayer fan.
No one get behind him.
The goddamn unbalancing of the weapons in a multiplayer match.
Yeah, that's fair.
Remember when you played that? You remember that when you played that one game that you really like? Let's say, since I'm doing the Doom retrospective next week, you're playing Doom. You're having so much fun, and then there's this one guy that's grinded like 50 levels in the very first day of gaming, and then it just owns you. Not because he has more skill, he's mostly teabagging you. No, because he has a much better weapon that clearly just went through unbalancing.
Yeah.
It is so annoying when a game is perfectly tailored. And I'm mentioning this on the Doom retrospective for sure. Doom, the multiplayer, little spoiler for the next video, has a great set of multiplayer maps with some great map design where there's multiple layers behind that one level. The map positioning, the item positioning, the weapon positioning, everything is set to a crispy point. And then you get owned by the same guy because he's using a double-barreled shotgun, and you don't have a goddamn double-barreled shotgun. That is so painful to see. And I agree with what Sugar Sweet is saying on the comment section. It is basically impossible to perfectly balance every single weapon in a game, especially if you have more than a dozen weapons.
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna get someone that's complaining about a sniper or a shotgun or a submachine gun, etc.
Yeah.
But I
think
there's
they're talking about League of Legends, but same principle.
Yeah, the same principle. I was actually going to bring up League. Yeah.
Same principle still applies to characters or weapons. When I said weapons, I was talking about multiplayer, but characters also really apply.
Yeah.
I understand, but I think there's a fine line between being slightly OP and, oh my god, I want to destroy this game and its developers.
Yeah.
You know? And most games don't have that.
Here's two examples, right? And one comes from League of Legends, but then the other one comes from Call of Duty. But I'll focus on the League of Legends first. When Aphelios, which is the brand new champion that was released, when Aphelios was first released, he was absolutely broken. Everyone hated playing against Aphelios. He had a 100% play ban rate in Pro League of Legends. He had over a 70% participation in general games, and he was almost a pick or ban priority. That is how broken this guy was. And you know what Riot's solution was? Reducing the range of one of his abilities from infinity range, by the way.
I mean, if you're gonna have range,
down to 1300.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Infinity
That sounds
range.
so fucking dumb.
So you can literally set up a sniping position from your base over to the enemy's base, and you can still hit them. It was absolutely retarded. Excuse my language. But the other weapon that I'm referring to is Call of Duty's 725 shotgun. Back when it was first released, back when Modern Warfare, this brand new Modern Warfare, by the way, back when it first released, this 725 double barrel shotgun, you couldn't even call it a shotgun. You called it a sniper.
Funny story.
Goodness.
Back when I was streaming Call of Duty, and I was streaming with Jack, one of my friends, and we were doing those 2v2 rounds. It's a game mode, like basically 2v2s. You got one life. Whoever kills them wins. Every time, it was basically random weapon rotations. Every time that shotgun were to show, we wouldn't say, we're playing with a shotgun. No,
God.
We would just look at each other and say, sniper round. Because we could literally snipe people from one side of the map to the other, no problem whatsoever. People would be like,
It's like, yes, this is a shotgun. Yes.
I have so many clips on my Twitch channel of that shotgun being the most OP thing ever made. That's exactly what I was trying to get at. It is such a big gamer gripe.
I am so baffled at how unbalanced some of these things are. To the point where I'm like, did you guys not do any QA testing at all? Did you guys not play test this at all?
Yeah, and they found out that it was really fun to use.
It really was. But if you're at the end of that shotgun barrel and you see everyone camping and sniping you from the other side of the map with a shotgun,
that's definitely how shotguns work. I'm pretty sure, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how I.
In real life, you can use slug rounds.
Yes, exactly.
Slug rounds really do.
We're not talking about real life. You don't get resurrection in real life.
But whenever a 50 cal sniper rifle does not one shot from like 10 feet in front of you, and a shotgun does, it's kind of like, well, what the is happening?
You know? Well, it is the amount of bullets. It's just the amount of.
Yeah, you're right.
It is actually, you're actually speaking the truth here. So many times I played games where I was using a sniper because I love one-shot weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, clearly
you're a cheese player.
I hit the guy with a perfectly shot sniper rifle, and the guy was like, "What the fuck, dude?"
It's like that just tickled.
You want my?
That wasn't a shotgun.
Yeah, that wasn't a shotgun, and he actually turns around and has a shotgun, exactly. And within the same range, he kills me. I'm sorry, Activision. I think you were sleeping when we designed that weapon, but
yeah, I mean,
thankfully it's patched, and going back to the.
But one of the main things that also irks me is whenever there are pay to win weapons in games, like. AVA, Alliance of Valiant Arms, was super notorious for this. But, okay, so, for those who don't know, Alliance of Valiant Arms, it released somewhere in, like, 2008. It's a really, really old game that died. But, in that game, there's normal weapons, and then there were capsule weapons. Capsule weapons were basically skinned weapons, but it gave you extra stats on top of the skins. And it made... Oh my gosh, I am... It made the gameplay.
You guys remember Battlefront 2? That's good. It literally destroyed loot boxes.
Oh my goodness!
It literally killed loot boxes.
Oh my goodness! Just microtransactions in general in a video game. If it's not game altering, it's fine. But when it's game altering like that, oh my god! I just genuinely want to just uninstall the game right then and there. Write a very, very strongly worded Twitter over to their Twitter page, complain my off, and then there's nothing that's done about it.
I'm just gonna say I'm really glad Battlefront 2 exists, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart.
I like it. I play it all the time.
I wasn't gonna go there.
Right.
I'm glad Battlefront 2 exists because it really shined a spotlight on what the video game companies were trying to do. Look, I understand a free-to-play company opts out for example, putting a specific character behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If your game's free to play, I
Gotta
understand.
make money.
Yeah.
It's free to play. Now,
Yeah.
if you buy a game, a $60 game, why are you locking me behind a fucking paywall?
Yeah. Exactly.
Hi, Rainbow Six. Hello, Ubisoft. A lot of people defend this game.
Yeah.
KJ, it's, you can unlock those heroes through some very exquisite playthrough. You just need to grind 3 weeks in a row while everyone is already using their new operator.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
that simple.
Yeah.
No,
really
it
easy,
is not that simple, you imbeciles.
You can
Those-
technically and legally obtain it through play. It might take you the rest of your life, but it's there.
Yeah.
That's what Ubisoft wants you to say.
Yeah.
If
Exactly.
you take 3 weeks to unlock an operator, you're not doing the game's justice, are you? Okay, all right. But KJ, you have to support the game's development. You have to support those who are working hard on that. Why do you have loot boxes? Why do you have loot boxes? Why do you have skins that you can pay? Why do you have bundles? Why do you have in-game currency? Why do you have all of those things? Is it because the game looks pretty? No, it's to support the game developers. I'm okay with the loot. I'm gonna say this. I'm okay with loot boxes. I said it. As long as it's just skins. Overwatch does it.
Okay.
I have no problem whatsoever with Overwatch's loot boxes.
Yeah.
I don't play a game for its skins. Some people do, and I understand that's a problem.
For sure.
Not in my case. Now, Ubisoft, especially Rainbow Six, is a competitive game.
Mhm.
And it's a very clear competitive disadvantage when you don't have the specific counter for a guy that keeps playing Caveira or a guy that keeps playing any other operator that kind of requires someone to counter it.
Yeah.
And if that someone is in a year pass, Ubisoft is basically holding you to gunpoint and saying, "Give us $50, please."
They're literally
Which-
putting you as a hostage.
Yeah. Which, spoiler alert, we're going through Oz's first, but
Yeah.
that's kind of my gamer gripe, my last one. But it is so annoying to see a good game like Rainbow Six, because I think it's a good game,
Yeah.
being ruined by the fact that you always have to put in €50 a year to keep playing it on a competitive level. And it's so annoying
Yeah.
because I want to like the game, but I
You don't
can't.
say.
But okay, one thing I will say though is
Oh, hold on. Excuse me to cut you there. Sugar Sweet is saying there was a currency you had to buy in one of the Sims games to open a damn town and items and hair. I heard about
Really?
about that too.
Yeah, don't be greedy.
Yeah.
All you paid
that-
was
was that the
$60.
was that The Sims 4?
I think it was.
Because I know that in Sims there's a lot of expansions, and a lot of those expansions are just hot garbage. They really are.
Sometimes they're good.
I-
Most of the time they're bad.
And I know KJ has seen this video, but there is a video going around where I think it was the vice president or like president of PR or something like that. They were talking about Fallout 76's first pass, and
Oh yeah.
the amount of excuses this man put out for in microtransaction is
That he said wasn't gonna be in the game.
is absolutely retarded.
Don't spoil, please. I want to talk about that.
Okay, good. Okay. What? All right.
Are we gonna go? Are we gonna go to mine now?
Yeah. I was going.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. My whole thing is pay to pay subscriptions. And I know it says pay to play, but it's basically pay to pay.
Mhm.
So basically, what this is like with Final Fantasy 14, which is a phenomenal game, and I wish there was some way that I could only do the subscription or only pay for it once. But you have to do both. You have to pay like $60 plus more if you want the expansions, which of course you do. And then you have to pay like a $30 subscription each month. Each month. That's ridiculous. It's a really good game, but why am I paying that much money? I don't have it anymore because I was like, no, And I still have they're like, oh, you still have the game. I'm like, no, I can't go in it. I can open the launcher. I paid $60 for a launcher.
Wait, can you explain to me that process a little bit more?
So basically,
Whoa.
yeah. So Final Fantasy 14, a phenomenal game. I will not stop saying this
14.
enough.
14. Oh, okay. No, I got it. Okay.
You thinking about 15?
I was thinking about 7. I was like, oh,
I would
what?
die. I'd be like, no, I want it. I don't want to
Okay.
pay more money for
Final
the game.
Fantasy 14, by the way, for everyone that doesn't know, is a MMORPG on the same vein as World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But much better.
Talking about the subscriptions, I agree there. We're talking about the subscriptions because it's subscription based, and how that is such an old mentality.
God.
Companies still
I-
use.
I do not mind subscription based. I will say that right now. I do not mind subscription based because sometimes you have to pay for servers. I mind when I have to buy the right to get a subscription.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get with Final Fantasy 14, you get you get like 90 days or whatever, 40 days or something. It might be less now. Of free, and I'm like, well, no, I paid $60 to get, and then once that's over, you have paid $60 just to get into the launcher. You do not get anything else with it.
Yeah.
The game is downloaded. You cannot get into it unless you pay them money.
Yeah.
Okay.
More money than you already have.
I also don't mind subscription-based games. I think we don't live in a ideal world where you can just have a free MMO running forever. You need to somehow support the company responsible.
Yeah.
My huge gripe with what you said, Oz, is when you have to pay a subscription while also having a giant store filled with items you cannot acquire.
Yeah.
So, in Final Fantasy, you have the base game, which is going to cost money.
Mhm.
Then you have to pay for every single expansion if you want to take the game serious, actually get to next level and do stuff. And then you have to pay the subscription, like I said. And besides all of that, you also have an in-game store that have exclusive items that you cannot goddamn acquire.
Yeah, you
So
can't
what's-
acquire it any other way. You have to go through the premium store.
Yeah.
There's no way of getting the premium currency.
It's absolutely it's absolutely
It is
stupid.
ridiculous. And
J-
Final Fantasy is not the only one doing that. World
God,
of
no.
Warcraft also does that.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft is meant to be one of those hunt style games. There's people that play World of Warcraft just to get a specific item. So why is it that a world as rich and as filled with that, the best mounts and the best costumes are locked behind a goddamn paywall?
Yeah.
It's not like we're supporting the developers anymore here.
Yeah.
It's that we're being a bit too greedy.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy anymore, because the best items are locked behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
And the
super
problem is the
super
ga-
grindy.
You can't even grind for them
I know.
in
It's
Final Fantasy 14.
yeah,
You
it's
can't. You
ridiculous.
have to pay for it
Yeah. it's
after
ridiculous.
paying your other thing.
Yeah.
Sugar Sweet is saying that in Final Fantasy 14, actually had a problem with people owning like a bunch of houses.
Yes,
so no
limited
one could buy a
economy.
new house.
Yeah.
So I'm paying X amount for of money in a month, and I can't even get a house.
Yeah.
Yes, because they have limited space and limited economy, and for some reason they didn't foresee this exact thing happening. And they can make more. It's not like they cannot. They just won't.
Supply and demand, mate. That's all I gotta
and
say.
It's a video game. I don't need capitalism.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Final gripe to end things off, gentlemen. I'm gonna choose overpricing expansions to go with the theme of Oz. Overpricing expansion. Remember the good old days when you heard about a game like releasing an expansion that you have to pay actual money, say $20, but you don't feel like you're being stolen because you actually get a lot of hours behind that expansion with a
Yeah.
good storyline that feels a part of the main game.
Which
Yeah.
game are we talking about right now?
Just
Witcher 3.
Yeah.
The
Witcher 3.
expansion.
I was gonna say Witcher 3 is excellent with
Yeah.
their expansions.
Exactly. That's great. I'm 100% not against expansions. I believe if you do work, you should be rewarded for said work. I think that's great, right? Nothing is for free. If you are good at doing something, never do it for free.
Yeah,
we can all agree there. Now, the same amount of money that Witcher 3 has for a totally new map with new quests, new NPCs, new everything basically, costs you a character and 3 maps on a normal Call of Duty match or a normal.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, since Black Ops 4, I believe. No, Black Ops 4 still did it. Since Modern Warfare, we don't really have expansion packs anymore.
Yeah.
Thank God. But it used to be that in Call of Duty, you would get a $50 Game Pass with occasionally, like every quarter of a year, you'd get a couple of new maps, maybe 2-3 maps, maybe a new weapon. You love those, Java.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it.
100%.
You paid basically an entire new game for a couple of maps.
What makes it even worse though is if you actually paid for those expansions, you can't play with other people who don't even have that expansion.
Exactly. It is such a stupid way of doing deals.
Like
we're not just talking like that. For example, speaking of the topic of expansions, right?
Yeah.
There are some expansions that don't really cost that much.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you can ask me $2 for a character customization option. I don't really mind that. If it changes a lot, I don't mind it, especially if you're going for a free-to-play game. But why is it that Dead or Alive DLCs cost in total $10,000? I believe. Let me fact check. It's something as absurd
Dead
as
or
that.
Alive. No, hold on. I'm just saying, a lot of work goes into those physics. All I'm just saying, it's a lot of work.
What kind of physics? Yeah.
They literally had to create their own version of gravity to make that work. And honestly,
the Jello physics are insane, man. Holy
yeah. Honestly, who needs gameplay when you have jiggle physics? Honestly.
Okay, so in
my
total,
goodness.
all the DLCs from Dead or Alive 6 costs. Stay with me, chat. €1,235.32.
That's completely reasonable. Completely. I mean, I would definitely spend that for.
Okay.
And
I did buy Anthem,
okay.
though.
Hold on. Let's preface this by saying Oz bought Anthem and
I
an
did buy
$800
Anthem.
mic.
I did. Okay, the mic was much more, but I did buy Anthem.
Yeah.
But I would not spend $1,000 on Dead and Alive. I don't know. No.
No, you definitely.
I gotta save my money for when Anthem comes back.
Okay.
Anthem 2.
All right.
Anthem.
Random, for example, DLC from Dead or Alive 6. Fun theme set.
Yeah.
Costs $50.
Oh, good.
What does it come with? A sexy nurse outfit for every female.
See, that's you had to get the jiggle physics right.
See, now that's value.
That's some value.
Here's the thing, right? Dead or Alive 5 and Dead or Alive 4 had a plethora, and I mean a plethora, of great skins and characters that could be unlocked progressively while we play.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive 6 was like, what, we used to work for free? Nah, dude. Let's literally release every single skin behind a goddamn paywall. And you guys probably don't know about this, right? This was a controversy happening a few weeks ago, chat. If you wanted to change the hair color of your character, you would have to pay $1 to do so. We got to a point where if you want to change the hair color, you would have to pay. Oh, that's bad enough, right? Can we all agree here?
Yeah.
Yes?
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, honestly.
Yeah.
Logical.
It's like
Now,
paying for a haircut.
Wait until you guys hear, right? That if you wanted to change back to your previous color, you would have to pay $1 again.
Yeah, because now it's a different color.
Yeah, imagine
I
paying.
don't have object permanence, so
Just imagine every time you wanted to cut your hair in The Witcher because of dynamic beard effects, every time you wanted to shave Geralt, it would be $15 IRL.
Yeah,
If Witcher was owned by Koei Tecmo, you can bet your ass they would do that.
completely makes sense to me. I mean, the Koei Tecmo is the same group of people that released Dynasty Warriors 9.
Yeah. But
What a good game that was.
But to go back on your point,
Speaking of open world,
yeah. But to go back on the point of like over proportionate prices for what you get, Fallout First was an absolute shite show. Okay, so for those who don't know, for Fallout First, you get private servers, a scrap box, survival tents, premium currency.
Oh no.
Armor sets,
Okay.
icons, and
So-
emotes.
I'm sorry to boo-ball you and boo-ball the entire set of people that are watching us right now. We just don't have enough time to go and talk
Next
about
time,
this.
next
Yeah, next time.
podcast,
Next time.
We will.
We're going out, chat. We're going out with a promise that we will definitely be going back to this same theme next
Oh my
week.
goodness.
But
I'm gonna
before we go,
scream at it.
we finally started working on our social medias. I know a few of you were excited for that. Our social medias are currently in the description. You have the links for the Twitter and links for the Instagram. We decided to focus mainly on those. Facebook, we are going to open it, but it's not going to be anything specific, anything special. Especially on Twitter and Instagram is where we're going to be having our main producers just dropping content right. We're definitely set to get this thing going, to get this consistency going. Next week, you can expect a Doom retrospective by yours truly, kind of Jesus. And the week after that, we're going to be having Oz's video and then Jalvai's video. We are full ahead of steam into making this Indie Hub stuff happen.
Yeah.
I've been your host, kind of Jesus, alongside with Oz and Jalvai. Everyone,
Yes.
have the nicest of days.
Bon voyage.
Wash
Just
your
make sure to-
hands.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, make sure
Don't touch your face at all.
don't touch your face. It's
No,
especially your.
Not at all. Not
I
your
don't
eyes,
even
nose,
have
or
arms
mouth.
to touch my face.
All right.
Um,
I
Goodbye,
type
ladies and
with my
gentlemen.
nose.
I'll see you guys next